All right, everybody. Well, hey, we are back. We have got an amazing podcaster and entrepreneur who's going to wrap up day one here for you with lots of great stuff. This lady is amazing. Met her about 2 years ago and absolutely enjoyed hanging out with her, getting to know her, see how she's doing things with her different podcasts, how she's basically taken one and turned it into a variety of different things with programs and trains and things like that. You're absolutely going to love her, though. But JJ Flizanes is an empowerment strategist and the host of several podcasts, including People's Choice Awards nominee, Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. She's the director of Invisible Fitness, a best-selling author of Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life, and the Invisible Fitness Formula, 5 Secrets to Release Weight and End Body Shame. Named the best personal trainer in Los Angeles for 2007 by Elite Traveler magazine. JJ has been featured in many national magazines, including Shape, Fitness, and Women's Health, as well as appeared on NBC, CBS, Fox, the CW, and KTLA. You want to grab a free copy of the Invisible Fitness Formula at jjflizanes.com/book, but we're honored to have her here on Mass Media Podcast Mode. What is going on, JJ?
Thanks, Scott. Did you see my trophy I was waving when you were saying
yes
in my so I it's to remind me that I'm doing good in the world. I didn't win, but I accepted the trophy as one of the top 10 to say, hey, my people like me and they voted for me. And that's kind of important in this space, especially when you are building community and influence and making money from your community versus other ways you can position your podcast.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's all about kind of that community and building that stuff and growing from there. Do you have a presentation you wanted to pull up or that you're wanting to dive into, or just back and forth here? Perfect.
Well, back or forth, or you can sit back and however you want to run this, because I don't need to. You can ask me questions. Your hour.
You run it.
If you want to get involved, you can. If you don't, I can take it. Don't worry. I once did a filming and it was for entrepreneurs in this, like a documentary. And they said, okay, we're going to put you in front of the camera and you're going to talk for an hour. And back then I didn't have a podcast and I was like, okay. And I just went. And then when the hour came up, they were like, when I was like, oh, okay. Cause I was on a roll. Like they're right. Like, I was on a roll. Like you put me in front of a group. You want me to talk? What do you want me to talk about? Lots to share.
There you go. I'll let you run with it and kind of talk about, why don't we first talk about how you got into podcasting and then kind of your transition. We'll go from there. How's that sound?
Yeah. How I got into podcasting. Well, it's part of the story of what you wanted me to talk about today, I believe, which is about like when it's time to pivot for your show. And when I was, again, I started my show in 2014. And the reason I started my show was because I, as a personal trainer, knew I'm very good with science. I'm better than the average, let's just say, with the amount of science that one needs to learn to actually come at this from a more medical, scientific place, not just sort of fad science. And I'm talking physics, biomechanics, physiology, exercise physiology, neurochemistry, endocrine system, all that stuff. And what I noticed through time as a trainer is that my tools in my toolbox, a few of them, the science tools that I had, they didn't always serve everybody enough. They didn't serve them. They didn't solve all the problems. And I'm an awesome problem solver. So of course, when I don't have the right tools to solve the problem, what do? Go get more tools. So it led me to keep asking questions. Well, if this doesn't work for that, well, what other components are there? What other factors or influences for someone is important for me to solve this problem? Whether it be back pain or not being happy with your body, not committing to an exercise program, not caring about your health, whatever the case may be. And of course, that has to lead you at some point into the behavioral sciences and to the psychology piece. And for me also, we're going to add spirituality, law of attraction, and astrology into that. And when you put all that together, now I have this really wide range of tools, and I'm now looking at people differently, and I can help them in different ways. But unfortunately, I had only attracted people who just wanted to lose weight. They only wanted me to tell them what to eat or work on a diet plan for them or help them exercise efficiently without getting injured, keeping all their cartilage and building muscle. But I wanted to talk about, well, why are you doing this in the first place? And what is, and if you fall off the wagon, so to speak, every other year, well, then the why is not big enough. And there are other factors that are stopping you from getting the results that you want. So I'm learning all this. I'm applying it to myself. And I've got clients who don't want to hear it. I've got clients who are like, I don't really want to do the coaching thing. And so then what ends up happening is that I'm a babysitter in a very good, high profile way. I mean, I'm very good at what I do with helping people to, again, preserve joint tissue and joint cartilage throughout their life and get them the results they want in the exercise, but it's not enough. And it's too surface. And I hate the fitness industry for that. I hate that people think it's about how you look, and your value does not come from what you look like, how much money you have, or any of your accomplishments. It is not what makes up someone's value. And again, through this time, I'm learning all these things. I'm excited. I'm sharing with them. I'm using it on myself, and I'm excited about what's working, and I want to share more, but I don't have any clients that want to hear it. So then I thought, all right, I feel like and I tried blogging. Oh my gosh, shoot me in the head. I felt like, oh my gosh, my brain moves so fast. My fingers can't keep up. And writing, while I do write, I have 3 books. I'm like, no. This is painful. This is not flow. This is like, think, stop, start, go. It was too disjointed. And so blogging, I was a fail blogger for that. And so then when I learned about podcasting in 2014, I went, oh, this is what I can do. I can do a podcast, and I can do different days of the week. And this is before I knew of other people doing multiple days a week. I just thought, great, I will do all the different content that I want to do. And I will do it like an alliteration. So Movement Mondays, Tasty Tuesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, Sexy Saturdays. And that will allow me and give me permission to produce content for those very specific days of the week. And then I get to put it out. And if you only want 2 of the 6, cool. If you want all of them, great. If you want one of them, great. But this was a way for me to sort of spread out and really do a market test. I did market research because also who I am and what I'm doing, and I'm sure a lot of people that are out there as well. If you have a lot of information that you want to share, and let's say you work either with companies or with clients, and you're kind of tired of saying the same thing over and over again, archive it, right? If you don't want to and for me, I couldn't, like, exercise is physical. I have to show you. We have to go through how your brain innervates your muscle fibers and where you're pulling from. I can't show you in a picture, and I can't explain it. You have to see it. And then of course you have to experience it. So I knew I needed to have video. And same thing for cooking. I wanted to show people that it was easy, that easy paleo, gluten, and dairy-free cooking is easy. You literally it's super easy. And people think, oh my God, cooking. They just get so weirded out by taking care of themselves. It's going to take so long. It's going to be so expensive. I'm like, it's not. So the cooking show was meant to be a light, fun way to show you it's not hard and it's not that time consuming. So again, that was going to be video. But then Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, and Sexy Saturdays were all audio. And, through the process, I made a lot of mistakes. We all do, and we learn from them as we continue. But the biggest mistake I made in the beginning, although it wasn't a mistake in the grand scheme of things, because I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't be where I am today hadn't I made those mistakes. I learned from them. I changed things up. And again, I'm here today with the fact that I only market through my podcast. I mean, and of course through social media, but people that find me in social media, because I've been banned from Facebook ads. So, which is a blessing, actually. They saved me a lot of money. And being in the fitness industry, anything weight loss related, you are under some scrutiny for how you do everything you do. And there was like a misunderstanding. I had 2 ads going at one time, and neither one were selling anything. One was a free book and one was a blooper reel from my video podcast to try to get people to watch season 2 of Fit to Love. So that was my first brand. And so why did I get into podcasting? I got into podcasting because I wanted to know what people resonated with from me. I have all this information. What is the most impactful and who wants more of what? I didn't know. I was good at all of it. So what do you want? So I put it out there as market research. And because I heard somebody say when I first learned about podcasting and he's a very successful podcaster, I heard him say that in the first 2 years, he didn't make any money. And he did a 30-minute show 5 days a week, and it was just audio. And, but when he started, iTunes kind of featured him at the end of 2 years, and he blew up, and then he started a membership site, and his story was really, really good. And I thought to myself, I can do this for 2 years without making any money. Now I did make money, but I committed to try the process, to make this a test, which I think all entrepreneurs should do. I think anytime you have an idea for a product or a book or whatever, you don't know how it's going to be received. You might think you do, but it's really a test. So you're putting it out there and you're seeing how the response is and how it goes, and you're course correcting. And then you're dialing in after you've tested in different ways. Okay, this works. This is solid. People want this from me. I sell it often. My close rate's high. The communication about it is good. It gets shared. It's people are referring to me. All right, this is a strong marketing, either tactic or product. So I just put it out there also, like I said before, as an archive. I wanted to be able to refer clients to information that I'd already recorded. And I still do it today. Like anyone that works with me, I'll probably send you in the first or second session 10 episodes to listen to that has to do with your issues. Because how much more work can get done when you listen to what I've already discussed and taught on a show, and then we can come and go deeper faster. I'm about efficiency and I don't want to waste anyone's time. And I sure don't want to repeat the same thing 15 million times. So why I started podcasting was to archive everything I was learning, to share it, and to test how people wanted me to show up in the world. And I'm going to keep going. So
it's good stuff. I forgot I hit the mute button there real fast.
Well, you asked me why I started, and I thought you didn't say why did you start. See you at the end. So I thought maybe I should shut up and let you come back in.
No, I love that. I mean, that's a great way, not only sending the episodes so it speeds up your client base so that you're not covering basic stuff that they could be researching and understanding. You're not wasting the hour of training or whatever the session is that you're beating with. That's a smart thing, having the best of, or hey, here's what you really need to listen to if you're going to work with me, if we're going to be a good fit.
Right. And let's say it's exercise related. All right. So let's say I have an exercise session with someone on Zoom, and which I do every day, and they're new, and I spend the time working on the form for the exercise. I'll go to my YouTube site. When I send them, here's the homework, here's when to do it again, and I'll link them to the video of that exercise on YouTube that I filmed. It's also my podcast, but easier to get on YouTube. And that way they can revisit how to do it. So they don't have to try to remember everything. They can watch it. So again, it becomes a reference point and a teaching tool for them to really embody the work that we're doing.
I imagine that you get a lot of crossover as people like 2 out of the 3 or 4 out of the 3. They really get to plug and play what they really enjoy and take away from your different shows, huh?
So when it was Fit to Love, here was the other issue. So I was trying to, again, make things easy. So I thought I'm going to take the Fit to Love brand. At the time, I had a publisher that was kind of going out of business, and I needed to find a new home for Fit to Love. And I had put it down. I was actually even focused on another book, not the one I ended up writing, but like a whole nother book. And so I go to this writer's workshop, and that's where I learned about podcasting. And by the end of the writer's workshop, I didn't have a book. I had a podcast and a new publisher for a book I needed to find a new home for. And so that was great. And then I thought, oh my, and of course I'm trying to find like the perfect name, and I'm like, what's it going to be? What's the umbrella? And I was like, Fit to Love. Like that's what you talk about in the book, a lot of this stuff. So just make that the brand. So I was like, okay. And honestly, I strategized in my mind who my audience was for Fit to Love. And I thought maybe they were single people. Maybe it was someone who, because that was my story in Fit to Love. It was like how I manifested my husband and how my self-care practice elevated me to a place of confidence and happiness and self-fulfillment and groundedness that I attracted the right person. I was like the happiest I could have been. I didn't need him. I just happened to attract him at the right time because I was happy. And again, like I said, I didn't need him. I wasn't coming from a need or a lack or feeling, like I'm broken or I need someone to complete me, any of that stuff. I wasn't feeling victimized. So that was really my story in Fit to Love. So that I thought, oh, well, maybe my audience are single people. And if I get them with the Sexy Saturday sort of dating stuff and they want to follow, my self-care plan to attract a partner or to deepen a relationship with a partner, maybe they come in through the Sexy Saturday, but then they watch everything else or they kind of go through everything else. Well, when you put, as you know, and I don't know if everybody who's listening is a podcaster, but when you put all of these different topics on one show, the only metrics you have are the downloads for each show. But my metrics were pretty even. They weren't like one day was very high and other days weren't, because they either subscribed to the show or they didn't, right? So if they subscribe, then they're getting all of them. And I didn't see a really clear pattern of which one was more popular. And again, the biggest mistake I made at the beginning was I was using really high, large files of video. And because I was not a podcaster, or I had listened to podcasts before that, I didn't get that would be a deterrent, because people have to download these videos to their devices, which is going to eat up a lot of their memory. And I didn't know that. And I figured it out towards the end of my second season, how to render the file at the very like smallest it could be and still have the best quality, because I was shooting in HD. So anyway, so that's one of the lessons I learned. And I think that maybe my podcast also, like, it had good numbers. I had a good launch, I had a good strong launch, and I had sales all over the country for things I was offering, a downloadable program and a book, and people would call me for consultations. And I get people writing to me, but I felt like it wasn't enough. I felt like there's something missing here. I listen to my own show. I'm having these amazing conversations and interviews. I'm giving so much amazing life-changing data and information. I'm feeling like it's not matching. And what I wanted to talk about today is the signs of when to pivot in your business. And my journey as an entrepreneur has been literally to take the principles of law of attraction and intuition and marry that with your purpose. So that way you're always following what feels right for you and what intuitively feels like the next best step. Now, that doesn't mean it's not scary and it's not big. It doesn't have to be small. I'm not talking about leveraging energy to attract something little. I'm talking about leveraging energy to attract huge opportunities and making massive leaps in your career. So for me, I knew that in the podcasting world, I was following some people who were mentors for me, and their advice, even though it wasn't directly at me, was that you follow the plan until it works and you continue pushing through with your podcast or until you get success. And at 2 years, it wasn't even 2 years. It was 350 episodes into 2 seasons. So 2 seasons, 350 shows. I had this intuition that they can't find you, JJ. They don't. I mean, Wellness Wednesdays, I talk about alternative medicine, functional medicine, holistic health, Chinese medicine. I'm an expert in biomechanics. Do you know that by Movement Mondays? No. I am also a leader in the law of attraction in ways that most people don't understand, because they totally butcher it and have no idea. They oversimplify it and then they miss the whole point. But do you know that by Freedom Fridays? No. Do you know? So I realize in the Tasty Tuesdays, do you know that I am cooking paleo, gluten, and dairy free? No, it says Tasty Tuesdays. So I was like, oh my God, I need to rebrand. And so that was what hit me. And I felt like other people said, no, you need to stay the course. You need to stay the course. You need to continue staying the course. And my intuition said, no, they can't find you. So I took my 6 different days of the week and made them 6 different shows. So the first one that I launched, I don't have slides, but I have props. So the first one I launched was Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. And I literally launched it first because, so I took all my shows and I did a spreadsheet and I color coded it by the theme. And then I saw that my Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, so my Freedom Fridays, had the least amount of episodes. And it had no products. It had no lead generator. None of them have a website, by the way. They all come back to me. But I thought, I'm just going to put this one out because I only did it as a guilty pleasure for myself. When I did this 6 days a week, what I did was say, people have always wanted exercise and food from me. Great. I'm even going to give them the next step of wellness in different ways. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, people are already paying me for that. Thursday, Friday, Saturday became JJ wants to do these things. JJ wants to talk about the psychology that some of the clients don't let her educate them on. JJ wants to talk about astrology, numerology, and law of attraction and how that affects every area of your life and your progress on my program. JJ wants to talk about all of the relationship stuff she's learning because she's trying to save her marriage and help get the best possible relationship she can. So the first 3 days were like, okay, you expect this from me. The other 3 days became, well, I'm going to do it and then we'll see if you like it. And the great thing about podcasting, as you know, and anyone else knows, is this is not a face-to-face conversation. So if you don't like it, then you get to leave and you don't have to ever listen to it again. And there's no expectation on your end and it's free. So it's a really great way to test content when you're someone who might, get offended or triggered when someone doesn't like what you have to say. It's a way to feel free. I don't want to say like safely behind a mic without a video, but it is. It's a way for you to really just be vulnerable and see how it lands for people. So once I did my 6 different shows, and again, I never would have gone into this and said, I'm going to make 6 different shows. I wouldn't have done that. I would have done one show and it would have been exercise, because the message to me was, that's where your background is. That's where your certifications are. That's where you're recognized. That's where your PR is. Just do fitness. I'm like, I'm tired of fitness. Fitness is a piece of the whole puzzle. It's not the main thing. And now I'm even realizing the reason why I don't like the fitness industry is because they're a bunch of control freaks. And I love you all, those of you that are friends of mine, but it's about how much can I control things? And that's not balance either. That's not what I'm about. So I did Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. Again, guilty pleasure. I literally even say it on Fit to Love website. I say, and if you don't want it, it's okay. Like, I give people permission to not want, like, listen to it, because I'm afraid, quite honestly. I'm afraid of being rejected in that way. So I had to sandwich it in with all the other stuff I'm really good at, and I'm already been accepted. So Spirit, Purpose, Energy launched in October, November of 2016. And I got a hit one day. I'm like, oh, I should make a manifestation challenge, because I'm already doing this law of attraction work, and maybe I'll put it out there. And so my first manifestation challenge, my free, which I still do today, 30-day manifestation challenge, happened in January of 2017. I'm going to say the show was cash positive probably by June of that year. So not even a year later. And most of my clients were coming from that show, and the show exploded compared to everything else. I mean, again, I'm not having millions of downloads a month, but I was doing very well. And again, who needs millions of downloads a month if people aren't taking action? So my community is very strong, and I'd get emails all the time about how my show was like changing their lives. And I've never met them, and they've never worked with me, and it's a free show. So that's sort of how I ended up with sort of all that I have. And, so I said that was the first show. The second show that launched was Women, Men, and Relationships. And Women, Men, and Relationships, again, had no products or anything to sell. But I quickly started to make things to sell. And that is what the beauty of this relationship and podcasting is because if you have a mission, if you have a passion, if you have information and a desire to help people, something that comes easy to you and you're good at it, when people show up, they will tell you what they want. And I find that a lot of people come into podcasting, and I did it too. Here's what I have to sell. Let me build a podcast around what I have to sell. The problem is what I had to sell, I wasn't that excited about. I don't really want to work you out and tell you what to eat only. I want to get underneath the hood. I want to know how you tick. I want to change how you think about things. I want to change your feelings. I want to have you be ultimately successful, so you stop dieting and you find a lifestyle that works for you, and that you're happy, and that you're happy now. And you don't wait until you've lost 20 pounds to think you're going to be happy then, because you won't be. So to me, like, again, today's topic for me was to talk about when it's time to pivot. And I think it's a combination of things. But before I get to that, because I have all my artwork here. I love it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one walking around with artwork or a show.
Well, I have to give credit where credit is due. Michael Neely bought all of these for me. So, so another show, and every show has a different business plan now, which wasn't the case in Fit to Love. It was all like, just put the content out there. So, and I have other shows. There's more than this, and I don't have all the artwork for this, but so there's something to whine about. And that one I do with Melanie Benson and Michael Neely. And what has been super fun recently about this, as I got added to the show as a co-host, and I'm sure Doug's going to be added soon too, because there are more episodes recorded with Doug, Michael, and I than there are with anybody else. So just how it works out. So anyway, so something to whine about is a passion project that hasn't made us money yet, mostly because we haven't published many of the episodes. We just like to have the bottle of wine and talk. But it's actually saved us money. It's a tax write-off. We got free wine tastings when we were in Paso a couple weekends ago. We got 30% industry discount on buying wine. We got discounts on other things, right? So, and we are now actually interviewing people at the wineries. So we're taking it up a notch, and we're kind of letting it unfold. But we took a passion and we made a show about it. not with the intention of necessarily reaping benefits from having people pay us like right away, but who knows? Like we have such a good time with it. And I trust that something else will come, but it's right now just like a side project. Okay. And then this show I have been doing I'm launching it. Well, it's launched right now. You could find it right now, but don't find it Wednesday. If you all could wait a week, I am going to be doing one of these Facebook Lives with some of my guests. This actual show has been in process for 2 years, probably since you met me, Scott. Okay. So this is Health and Wealth. And Health and Wealth originally started out as a show. I thought I need to make a show so I can write off New Media Summit and I can hang out with Doug. So that was the initial thought of Health and Wealth. And so I started to have interviews and I started to get sponsors and I started to make money, and I hadn't launched the show yet. So I thought, okay. And then I had a pivot again. We're going to talk about pivoting in a second. I had a pivot. I thought, wait a minute, what is this about? Like I did it for a reason that wasn't a strong reason how I started it. And then later I thought, oh, I need to do this. And I was trying to force myself to do it in another way. And again, but I kept checking in with, it's not the right time. And that's not really the right reason. It's not a good enough reason. So then I waited more. And now it's been it's not quite 2 years. It's like a year and a half. Okay. So a year and a half when I had this idea and I had all the content, there are 19 shows up right now that I just put up in the last 5 days. And most of them are brand new episodes that no one's ever heard before. So I put the show up and now I have a clear direction. I know exactly what I'm doing with it. And I've already made money before I even put it up. So let's talk about pivoting. So the word pivot in a dance term means that you're literally like you're on your feet and you pivot. Now you're turned the other way. Actually, you just turn your body. So it's a 180-degree difference. I could be facing you. And if I was standing and I pivoted, I would literally be facing the back. In law of attraction, it also means about 180-degree turn. It's where you're looking in one direction, complaining and generating, lots of emotion and momentum about what you don't want. And the pivot is about, okay, now talk about what you do want, because let's generate some momentum on this side. When I'm talking about pivoting in podcasting, it doesn't have to be in 180 degrees. I didn't move 180 degrees. I am, again, like I said, in the beginning of our time together here, I'm about efficiency. I wouldn't have started 6 shows with 6 like individual content that only was, specific to that show. The way that this happened for me, I was able to separate the content, and I just wanted to market test it in that way. I'm like, I'm going to put them out as 6 different shows, just what I have, and then we'll see what happens. And the one that's the most popular is the one I'll keep doing, or if there's 2 that I'll keep doing. So it's about listening to your intuition about what feels right for you on all levels, from why are you starting a podcast and allowing it to be something organic, because this is a marathon, guys, not a sprint. And it's not a get rich quick thing. This is about a deep trust. It took me, since I started Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, I've done 4 live events or 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. I've done 5 live events. Yeah. Cause I just finished the 5th one. And 95% of the people that are in my room come from my podcast. And 100% of the clients that I get and people in my masterminds are from my show, because they have a deep know, like, and trust factor. And they know who I am. It's so different when, I've spoken on so many stages where someone, they rah you and they give your bio and people go, great. Oh, who is she? And then like you're performing and you're telling people who you are and you're gaining their trust and you're telling your story. But it's so different when you walk into a room full of, 50 people that know who you are and you don't have to say anything. They know your stories. They know what you're about. They know what you're going to teach them. And it's like, oh, like you feel like family, and and then it's like, oh, let's get to work. Let's get to work. I'm about, let's skip all that. Like, do you like me? Do you trust me? You already do. That's why you're here. And I've made a conscious effort to really honor that within my own show and with my own marketing, because, I'm intense and, I'm not for everyone, and I'm okay with that. And so I think it's not a smart idea for me as a business owner to market in other ways other than my show. So this year, 2020, part of, why I have all these different shows, but they all point back to the same website. Website's jjflizanes.com, right? So, and that's where you find all my podcasts. And will I do them all forever? Of course not. But literally every single one of them makes money. And some of them make money very differently than the others make money. So, and it's easy and I'm good at it. And people continually write to me every week about how much I'm changing their lives. So, I even have another podcast and I don't have another, and it's my membership. So anyway, as you can see, it's not that I'm addicted to podcasts. I just think this is the easiest freaking marketing you could ever do, because you're giving them content, you're establishing a relationship. It's pretty intimate in their ears. It's free for them. It's low cost for you most of the time. And even if you have a production company, you can get to the place where it's cost effective and it makes complete sense depending on what your offers are. And it's easy. I go to rooms of people, people that we have been with, and, they have a room full of people and not a single person came from their show. So they spend the whole time doing the whole know, like, and trust factor. Here, let me tell you my story about this. And let me try to prove to you that I'm good at this. And it's like, oh, and I'm so over that. So pivoting. So when we talk about pivoting, you have to listen to what is right for you and what is easy, what comes easy for you. What are you good at? What do you enjoy? And really honor that, because if you're doing your business or your podcast separate from or in resistance to what you're good at, then you're on the wrong path. It's going to be hard. Business will be hard. Podcasting will be hard. But if this is something that you're going to talk about anyway, I mean, I literally needed someone to talk to about law of attraction. I'm like, oh my God, I'm learning all these things. Let me tell somebody. So I started a show so that I could tell somebody. And I thought, well, if anyone's interested, then they'll let me know. And then they were like, yes, we're interested. Keep going, keep going. I was like, oh, okay. I'll keep doing it. So that's where we are. So if you are not making any money, back up. If you're not hearing from your audience, something's wrong. If you've been doing this for 6 months and you haven't heard a thing, you need to pivot. I don't know what you need to do to pivot, but you need to pivot, because at some point your information should be so impactful on some level, or what you're offering or what you're trying to get them into should be so, moving, something that in 6 months you should hear something from your audience. And then when you hear something, you ask them questions, and then they're going to tell you what they need from you. And where I find a lot of people resist is they think, no, it has to happen in this way. I have a business. I'm a personal trainer and I'm doing this. And if you don't fit into this, then then I'm not the right person for you, or I don't want to do that. Well, this is a relationship. Podcasting is a relationship building with people you don't know, with your audience. And while I think and believe that that is the best way to proceed to have a relationship with your audience, it's also okay. So something else. So Doug and I are doing an all-day masterclass tomorrow. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about, and we'll probably be doing a webinar because everybody was like, why didn't you do it online? So we'll probably do that in early February. But one of the things that for me, I see is people's messaging. Now, you have your show is about finances, but you're a pretty passionate guy, which is probably why people respond to you. But there are people out there who get in behind the mic and have this imposter syndrome and then feel like, oh, I have to be very vanilla and I can't have an opinion and I can't say anything bad and I can't swear and I can't get mad. I have to somehow there's this unwritten way to be an interviewer. Oh, I've had comments like, JJ talks too much. I'm like, yeah, it's my show. See ya. If you don't like me, not the right show for you. On YouTube, I had somebody come and say, the recipe is good, but you are annoying. And I was like, I wrote back, awesome, great feedback. So useful. Anyway, but
you don't apologize for being you. Never do that. That's such a great thing.
Well, let's not joke. This is not something that comes naturally because we all have wounds. Yeah. And nobody wants to be rejected and nobody wants to feel like someone doesn't like them, but those are your wounds you have to heal. And when you put yourself out there repeatedly and you get feedback like that, that's on you. The wound is in you. They're just showing you the mirror or, tickling your wound, but it's you with the wound. So I have had to work on self-acceptance, self-confidence, body shame, self-shame, right? All that stuff. And and again, but this is what I do for others too. So all the work I've done on me, I help others to do so that you can get to the place where it doesn't matter what someone says to you because it's like water off a duck's back. You can see that it's about them. Somebody came on my YouTube channel once and complained that I was too skinny. I didn't know what I was talking about. And all I could do was hear her pain. I heard her frustration. I heard that she's tried so many things. She never reached out to me. and same thing with my show, like Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, because I'm pretty, I say what I think, and I've got strong opinions. And someone came on once, like when people love me, they write to me. I get emails all the time. I get messages on Instagram and on Facebook. They join my groups. They join my groups when they think they can join groups that aren't for free. And they're like, hey, can I join this group? I'm like, no, it's not free. But when they don't like me, they write a bad review. So I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, can you write me a good review? Those of you that like me, because the ones who don't like me love to leave a bad review, which I don't care. I really don't, ultimately, because you have to just test it for yourself. And again, like I said, I know who I am. So I'm okay with you not liking me, because if you're the person who just wants to complain for the rest of your life and be a victim, I am not for you. So when it comes to looking at what, to me, it's the first indication that you need to pivot is that you have crickets. Okay. It doesn't even matter how large your audience is. You could get 50 downloads, and 1 out of 50 at some point, you ask for engagement. Hey guys, give them a survey, ask them to come connect with you on Facebook, ask them a question. If you hear nothing, then your position isn't strong enough, because you're just another voice amongst a sea of millions of people trying to be heard, and you're not giving them a compelling reason to stay. So I'm going to say that the messaging is probably not strong enough. And this would be where finally my acting background comes into play into my business world, because it's not about acting. It's about activating an emotional reason why you're doing this. And the more passionate you are, it attracts people that are interested in that. So you don't hear anything. You're not making any money, not selling anything. You don't like doing it. And I don't mean the editing part. I mean the actual interviewing or the recording. If you don't come out of your show feeling like rah, like, yeah, and maybe not that big, maybe feel like peaceful. You're like, oh yeah. Like if you don't have like a serious good feeling in some way after you have recorded an interview or done a solo show, it's the wrong message. You are not passionate about what you're doing, and that will ultimately not work. Right? You will either sabotage it because you don't like it, and you probably aren't attracting the right people. So another indication it's time to pivot is that people aren't understanding you. So maybe you have too much negative feedback, and it's not that you're affected by that. It's that they don't get that. Like the majority of people, like it's out of balance. I get negative reviews, but I get way more positive reviews than I get negative reviews. So there's a balance to that. So much so that I didn't even look at my reviews for a long time, because I get so much positive feedback all the time that I was like, oh, everybody loves me. Everybody loves my show. And then I happened to be scrolling. I was like, I have a 2-star review and somebody hates me. I was like, oh my gosh. And then, and I let that affect me for 24 hours. And I was like, okay, this is not about you. So those would be some of the reasons I think someone should really consider pivoting. Now, when I say that, I repurposed everything. I even if you want to test out, another idea for anyone who thinks their brand doesn't work, right? Like, so in my last couple events, so my last event last October, my manifestation boot camp, I said, how many of you listen to Spirit, Purpose, Energy? And most of them did. I said, how many of you knew about Fit to Love? And they're like, no, I only found you because I was searching things that were Spirit, Purpose, Energy related. But here's what's really awesome. So, why health and wealth is in the right time for me is because, again, this evolution for me. And again, I would recommend everyone, again, consider that your show is part of your evolution. It's here to teach you also how you best show up in the world and make the biggest impact, not just the most money, but the biggest impact. So health and wealth, I have had mentors and I've been in masterminds where the focus is 100% money. But I noticed years ago when I was, became an entrepreneur and started hiring coaches and mentors that I was like, yeah, you may have a lot of money, but your relationships suck and you aren't a nice person and your health isn't very good. And it seems like you've given up everything for money. And I just never thought, and they seemed like they maybe were like, they weren't all honest. They kind of were shysters, some people, or they just put on a face of what they wanted you to know. And, the feedback I've gotten for years, no matter what I'm doing, is that I'm the same person one-on-one as I'm in front of 1,000 people on a stage. So, and that's true. I don't change. I don't turn on, hey, this is me when I'm with you. And then I'm like a different personality when I'm the same. which is why my husband divorced me. Because it was too much. And no, I'm kidding. It was I did change. I did grow from that, but it's because of all of my life lessons that I have literally scoured the earth for every therapy, self-growth technique, relationship communication thing that I actually have knowledge in all the areas that I'm good at, and why I now can share that with people who actually want it, will take it and do something with it. So health and wealth. I realized it was time for me to step into the money game. And I didn't want to do it the same way everyone else was doing. And I didn't want to compete with anybody. I'm me. And I just want to offer it to the people who like me and want to follow me and agree with my sort of philosophy. My approach is a mind, body, soul approach. And I think it was time for me to put money in there, that we don't lose our health to attain wealth, and that we live and that we have a balance in some way. Now, it's always not going to look like it's balanced. Some days it'll be like this and some days it'll be like this, but ultimately this isn't one of these things is more important than the other, because in the world I come from, they are all connected. And so I sort of, moved into that. This was the year that I was going to have my sort of health and wealth mastermind, which focused on all of it and how all it worked together. So again, if you look at your business and your podcast as a journey of exploration and of like getting out there bigger and bigger and bigger in ways that serve you, that are in alignment with who you are, why you're here, what you're good at, what you're naturally good at, what you love, that people can feel from you, you can't go wrong. You just may get steered in directions. You have to be flexible enough to allow yourself to be steered in other directions and not be so in your head about what you think is right, because you can make a lot of money and then die tomorrow. And what was that for? Or sacrifice relationships for money, and then what? And then be miserable the whole time. Or, again, and you could also be a spiritual person who makes no money, right? So there's the balance. It's like, how do we connect them? Because there is a connection. So when it's time to pivot, so what I was going to say about that, about the rebranding. So if you have a show that you love, I loved my show, Fit to Love. Like, I literally would like go back and listen as I was editing and be like, man, this is a good show. I like my show. Why am I not getting more people interested in doing things? And that's another indicator, is that you feel like it's a powerful thing you're doing, but not enough people are getting it. It may be your branding. So if you even take the same content and just rebrand it, that's all I did, is I took Fit to Love and rebranded it into 6 different brands, 6 new brands. And then I let the universe tell me, which ones were the most popular. So at my last event this January, a couple weeks ago, one of the newest mastermind members, I asked everybody in that group, okay, do you guys all listen to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy? I got no. One person came through Women, Men, and Relationships, and she came through Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. She found me because she was looking for nutrition and alternative medicine. She liked me. She heard me talk about Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and then she moved to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. So it's like having multiple products in multiple stores. It's cost effective. Repurpose your show, change the brand, and test it. Take the same content, do 3 of them. Be like, okay, I could call it this, or in a different way, I could like rebrand it this way, or I could rebrand it this way, and then go see which one works. It may not be the content. It may just be the brand. So, okay, I'm going to shut up for now.
I love that though, but you hit so many great nails on the head there about if you don't, let me bring the video on here. Sorry, I thought a video. If you don't pivot, you'll either do one thing, hate what you're doing, or people will just stop listening, or one thing, you'll go broke. You can't do it anymore, right, JJ?
Yeah, it's only so long. I was paying for, 2 camera HD. Now while I got a great deal, I manifested like the perfect deal for that. And again, I repurposed all of that content. If you want to do a good show and you can't afford to continue giving free information out forever, you have to have it work at some point to make it even enjoyable. But I also believe that it should be enjoyable for free too, at first, until you figure out your system.
Right. What was some of the best tools that you used to reach out to your audience? Is there something that stuck out that really rang the bell for people, your listeners, to communicate with it, besides the downloads and things like that? Is there anything, tools that you use to really identify those opportunities?
So that first manifestation challenge, I created it on Facebook, but I had a landing page that was a list builder, right? And then I'm still to this day, I have like 4 or 5 people. And my next one's not till April. But I have people sort of in the wings waiting to be approved in the Facebook group, because I literally go to my active campaign, which is my, where I have all my emails, and I will make sure that they are in it, right? Because you don't get in if you don't sign up for, like, I'm very sure, because I could put it as an open group and anyone and any, but if you don't know me, if you don't know what we're talking about, then you don't get it. And I don't want you in there because you're going to be leaving. So my attrition is very low because everybody comes from the show. So I just use a Facebook group to test it out. I'm up to about 1,000 people in the group. And now I've moved a bunch of them over to paying me to do this in a membership that I just launched in December. So, and it's doing pretty well. Considering, people who want paid content. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I've been doing this for 5 years and now going on 6. And it's now time to pay for it because I have 600 episodes that you can, if you are a new listener, and if you go through 600 episodes and then you're complete, then good. If you want more, you can go pay for it. So, I mean, I'm still putting out free shows on all the channels. I've just reduced my production from twice a week to once a week. But so I would say, yeah, Facebook is a great free way to test things, and definitely having an email list and having free offers and testing your free offers. It's another way. Maybe it's, a survey. People love SurveyMonkey, and giving people a link to take a survey to say, hey, what do you want from me? I'm not doing this in a vacuum. So I'm trying to have a conversation with you. What do you want from me? What's resonating for you? And making it, and again, if you hear crickets, something's wrong.
Yeah, I mean that. Now, you and Doug have something going on this weekend. You want to talk a little about that and how that kind of is transpired a little bit?
Yeah, again, there's a lot of people teaching podcasting. All of us that are successful at podcasting feel like we have a voice and we want to share something about what it is that we do. And I was leveraging what we already do all day long, right? And like, can we make some more money with this? Can we create some new things for people? And again, everyone's different and what people are teaching. But I feel, again, my main message, besides building a business plan, a specific business plan for your podcast. And like I said, each podcast has a different business plan. Health and Wealth and my Spirit, Purpose, Energy and my Something to Whine About, they all have different business plans. And if you're not clear about either, like, you can go in and have a goal and have it not work out and then pivot. That's what happened here. But once you're on to something, and once you have an idea, like each show or each idea needs its own like flushed out plan to at least try. So again, the business plan, because I see so many people just podcasting to think it's a get rich quick, and which is not, right? Because Joe and Matt, our buddies, they polled 1,000 podcasters and 85% of them make no money, none. Okay. And so I'm thinking, wow, you are doing something wrong. Okay. You're missing the boat there. And for me, I see a lot of people who are, like I said before, too vanilla. Like, they get on and they think they're supposed to somehow, there's some unwritten rule I didn't know about, that as an interviewer, you're supposed to not talk, right? Because I got told I talk too much. Don't talk, JJ. Let the interviewers. It's my flipping show. If I don't agree with the person, it's my show and I pay for it. So I think people, they're too afraid to stand for something. They're too afraid to ruffle some feathers. They want to be liked too much. They lack the confidence in themselves to be themselves. And so I think that's a big problem with a lot of podcasters, that they just, again, they haven't found that messaging. So Doug and I put together this course. It's a live in-person course tomorrow. It's free. We asked for $100 seat deposit, but he's already gone to the bank and got everybody's money. So you can't come. But we may do it again in a month, and we will probably most likely do it on a webinar at 11 a.m. on February 11th. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me, jjflizanes.com. There's jjflizanes.com is the easiest way. But, again, I just wanted to, I feel like I'm filling in a gap or a niche that's not being talked about. It's where I get to use that, being for something, getting your emotions charged up for whatever it is you're talking about. It doesn't have to be that you're trying to heal the world. Just, whatever your topic is, but just giving a shit, basically. Can I say that on YouTube?
You sure can.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've held back. But that's okay. Because I know you can't go back and this. So I was like, just, I don't do too many F-bombs, but occasional shit or something,
yeah,
or hell.
Now, where do you see you going in the next, say, 12, 24 months? I know you've got these different business plans, and I'm sure knowing you're planning things out for you. Have anything big in 12 months that you're working towards or looking to manifest with your shows? Yeah. You want to share?
Yeah. So I just launched, because I just launched my first mastermind, and it's a beta group. So it's like peanuts compared to anybody else's mastermind, but it is the idea of the health and wealth sort of, like that we're not going to do one for the other. This is a combination. And so I have 3 spots left in that. And that was my first group. So next year, and again, when I looked at and I priced out all of the time they were going to get, all the things like, like I cut it in half. It's worth 3 times what everybody's paying for it.
No.
Like no brainer, worth 3 times. But I wasn't ready for that. I was like, okay, but I'm not a proven person in this space. So I decided that I was going to cut it in half. And then I was going to offer a guarantee. So my guarantee for my people is that you will make your investment back, or I will work with you until you do. Because if I can't help you make this small investment that you're putting into this, I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. So what I'd like to be doing next year after I take these 15 proven people, and by the way, there are 3 slots left for anyone that could possibly be interested. I do close it in a week from today. And we'd have a call about it. It may not be right for you, but if you're at all interested in joining an accountability mastermind that will help you joint venture with people within the group, and again, focus on your relationship and your health at the same time. And again, with a guarantee, don't know anyone else is doing a guarantee. So what I'd like to do next year is to take health and wealth, and I want to see how the show's going to do and make it a 2-parter. And I was going to do that this year, but I just didn't feel like I was ready for it. And I'm going to make 2 mastermind groups, 2 focus groups. One will be the incubator, which is kind of who I have now. But there are more high level people in that. And then an executive. So like stepping it up for all of us. Now that's on the business side for health and wealth and how I want to help guide people through this sort of mind, body, soul, and money thing. My goal that I've been announcing all over the place, so why stop now, is I will be getting my first TED Talk this year.
There you go.
And so I have had a lot of my people come to my events or ask me, hey, when are you going to make a certification to teach us to do what you do? And it happened in October, and I was like, I can't teach you to do what I do. This is the way my brain works. And then as I was doing my program, I realized, this one piece, I could teach someone to do this one piece. I could teach them to do it really well. And this is a really important piece. And so then, that thought unfolded and kept going and going and going. And then I finally got this whoosh of this download of that's my TED Talk. Because I could talk about a lot of things on a TED Talk. I didn't know what to hone in on. So I want to get the TED Talk. And again, me dialing it down to 18 minutes. Yeah. I can do it. But it's going to be a lot of work just to get, the points down to 18 minutes. And then from there, I want to see how it's received. I also believe in divine timing. So if it's not the right time for people to receive this very powerful, life-changing information that really could stop suicides, depression, and anxiety, if people aren't ready for it, then it won't work. And that's okay. It won't be my fault. But I kind of want to wait till the wave is we're ready for this. And then I want to step into that. And then from there, if there's a good response, then I will make the certification and I will certify people to do this one piece. It's very powerful one piece, and go with that. So that's on the docket for 2020.
Well, we look forward to seeing all that good stuff out there. Best way for people to reach out to you is jjflizanes.com, correct?
Yep.
Out there. Well, yep. I want you to get back to it because I know you got a busy day tomorrow there for you, but thank you so much for coming on here and sharing so much great nuggets, your journey and kind of the inside mindset that goes along with that stuff. I think we all face it at some point, especially start getting up numbers and episodes and things like that. What's next? We all have different interests, and I love the fact that you've taken, hey, what JJ wants to do, JJ's going to do, right? And pivot with it. So thanks so much for being on Mass Media Podcast here with JJ. We'll talk to you later. All righty.
Thanks, Guy. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
All right, guys, it's going to wrap it up for day 1 here in the Mass Media Podcast Summit. Thanks for hanging around. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning as we get rock and roll another 2 busy days with everything going on here. So thanks so much for being here to the end. And we'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early.